All right. Well, with that, because it's always the best stuff that gets removed from canon, right? We know that always the best stuff gets taken out. Well, that's not always the case, right? We're looking at you, X3. Not always the best stuff, right? But frequently is the good stuff, right? We yearn for it so frequently that in fact it's the subject of tonight's Top Zen, which is the top 10 greatest non-canon characters. And I'm going to start us off with number 10 in the countdown, Gwenpool. That's right. Gwendolyn Gwenpool is Earth's TRN 565's answer to what happens when you cross Gwen Stacy with Deadpool. And is just as wacky. Gwendolyn Pohl arrived in the Marvel Universe from what she claims to be the real world. Unwilling to be an extra, she went to a tailor for superheroes and requested her own costumes so that she could stand out. The tailor misread Gwen's application form and thought Gwen's went by the alias of a Gwenpool, leading to a similar design to Deadpool. Not a lot is known about her because she's, again, non-canon and we haven't really explored some of her backstory, but including how she got her powers or even what her powers are for the most part. But we do know that she has erased all memory of herself from her parents' mind, as she said it was for the best. Additionally, upon gaining the ability to manipulate the borders of the fourth wall from an attempt to return to her reality, upon gaining the ability to manipulate the borders of the fourth wall from an attempt to return to her reality, which allowed her to travel through time, Gwen retcons the Marvel Universe into believing that she is a mutant after being given the idea from Kamala Khan, allowing her to enter the gates of Kokora. So definitely still a very powerful character, and honestly just a really cool fusion character that the Marvel Universe gave us. Obviously, Gwenpool has a lot better... has probably a lot easier skincare regimen than Deadpool does. But definitely one of our favorite alternate non-canon characters. Gabe, what do you think about Gwenpool coming in here at number 10?
I've never heard of Gwenpool, and seems very interesting. Seems like it reminds me of Spidey Gwen in a way.
Yes. It's Gwen Stacy. It's pretty much Gwen Stacy and Deadpool mixed together.
Yeah, I wonder how that would be, and I don't know. I wonder if she still is meta. I haven't really read much of her, but her costume is weird, I admit. But I think it's a very interesting pick.
Yeah. Kev, what about you? Have you ever heard of Gwenpool before? Or is this the first you're hearing?
I've never heard of Gwenpool. I was like, when I was doing the Top Zen, I was like, Gwenpool? Who the hell? But it's cool. Like, and I think this kind of speaks back to it, right? Like, it's fun to see these alternate what if storylines, and this is, what if Gwen Stacy was basically Deadpool?
Well, there you go. But of course, Gwenpool is somebody that, of course, you guys both haven't heard very much of. So not as well known, probably not nearly as well known as number 9 on the countdown, although this is still a pretty minute one here. Cape, you've got the number 9 on the countdown, Red Death Flash. Tell us why the Red Death Flash makes number 9 on the countdown, Cape.
Yeah, I know you've all... Well, you want to get into it. Is this Batman or is it the Flash? But I would argue it's more so the Flash, because it's pretty freaking awesome and pretty freaking brutal. Now, yeah, it is pretty messed up. Now, in this timeline, Batman had it with all the deaths of the different Robins, and so he essentially wanted to put it in his own hands, and he wanted to, essentially time travel like anyone else would. So he went to Barry Allen, and he wanted to use the Speed Force to essentially, bring back the Boy Wonders. And Barry said, whoa, I know about the timeline, and you don't really mess with death and all that, because it can really, mess things up. And so Bruce essentially took it into his own hands, and he had his own copy of the Cosmic Treadmill, and he strapped Barry Allen to the Batmobile, and he went on a good old trip down the Speed Force, and essentially got Barry Allen's subconscious into Bruce, so he can use the Speed Force whenever he wants, because Barry wasn't using it to his potential, as he would say, and is kind of like a Firestorm type of relationship where you have, Barry here saying, "You wouldn't do that, Bruce," but Bruce doesn't give a crap, so he would just do what he wanted, and so he was essentially using the Speed Force just the way he wanted, just like a vending machine with all the quarters in the world. But sooner or later, you're gonna run out of quarters. So it's a lot more gruesome than that, because it's called Red Death. So what do you think he's gonna do? Do a lot more killing and murder. But nonetheless, this is a very brutal version of Batman, and I'm not sure if you're a big fan of brutal Batmans or not, but what do you think about them, Dodd?
I think superhero speedsters with gadgets is a highly underrated superpower or kind of character setup. Like there's tons of different speedsters out there, but you never see them like use a sword, right? Or something else like that. Other than Cabal, my boy Cabal uses those swords. Okay,
Sure.
He knows what's up, right?
Cabal.
So having Batman combined with Flash, that's what I would hope to see. I would hope to see a gadget using Speedster most than anything else. But the whole Batmetal series is super duper awesome and full of really awesome alternate characters. Have you ever messed around with the Batmetal series, Kev?
No, I haven't. A lot
check
of this. Yeah, I need to. There's a lot of things I need to check out that's not canon to like MC in Marvel or DC. So I'm actually learning a lot through this show and stuff that we've done. So,
yeah, some really cool ones to check out. Well, also another really cool one to check out is number 8 on our countdown. And Kev, you got number 8 on our countdown. Who we got coming in at number 8?
Yeah, number 8, guys, we've got Get Off My Lawn himself, Old Man Logan. Logan, being the old geezer he is, eventually gets pretty weak. After the X-Men isn't in existence and he's not really on a slashing spree, this is what the movie Logan is based off of. The whole U.S. is taken over by different villains. Red Skull has a part wearing the skin of Captain America. Dr. Doom has a part of Birmingham, Alabama, and the South. There's so much goodies about this comic. Heck, Hillbilly Hulks, a Venom T-Rex, for Pete's sake. If either of you haven't read this comic, I know Jake has, who is running the show right now, has read the hell out of this. You'll drop your jaw when you see why Logan hasn't released his claws in such a long time. But are either of you familiar with this?
Yeah, mostly from hearing Jake rant about it for years and years and years, but also because it's a lot of the basis for what the movie Logan was based off of, and which is one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, if you ask me. Personally, have you gotten a chance to check out Old Man Logan, Cape?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Jake read it while we were in college, and like once you figure out why he hasn't released his claws, I mean, it's crazy, and it is very bonkers, as Jake says. I mean, it's just like Venom T-Rex. How could you say no to that? Right. And Dr. Doom having
so is it a
Alabama
symbiote that's taken over a T-Rex?
Yes.
Is that what? How? Where? Okay, never mind. I guess
that happens when you get old, Kev. You run into Venom-powered T-Rexes. It's
Dinosaurs
part of the circle of life, Kev.
And Red Skull having the skin of Captain America as like his what he wears. It comes from Icelandic, where they thought if you skinned your enemies, then you get their strength. And it's just like, I'm just very surprised that you haven't got into it, Doug. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's definitely one I hopefully will be able to release my claws into sometime soon. See what I did there. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for number 8 in the countdown. But he's got nothing on number 7 in the countdown, and I'm going to have that one, which is The Batman Who Laughs.
Yes.
The Batman Who Laughs first appeared in the comic Dark Days: The Castling. In the alternate reality of Earth 22, Batman takes the role of the villain within Gotham instead of the hero, who does not have a rule against killing, for one. This evil counterpart of Bruce Wayne within the dark multiverse is depicted as a hybrid of both Batman and Batman's arch nemesis, Joker. He leads a twisted version of the Justice League, which he calls the Dark Knights, whose goal is to plunge the whole multiverse into complete and utter darkness. Now, he's Tim Burton's fucking wet dream, for starters, right? And looks like the Batman Who Laughs definitely looks like he rolls with the same crew that Pinhead does. I don't know what their names are. And the Necroverse things where you'd go in the Necronomicon and they have the guy that has the anything. Yeah, he looks like Hellraiser. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He looks like he could be hanging out with Hellraiser's crew for sure. Yeah. He's got this big, black meets spandex kind of look, and honestly, he really just, capitalizes on everything that makes the Batman universe. He's kind of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich of what's good in the Batman universe, all put together in one bite. And so, with any story that he's involved in, that it's just going to go on some crazy fucking narrative. So, Cape, I know you're excited to see this one make the countdown.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you said, peanut butter jelly sandwich of Batman and Joker, because he has the craziness of Joker, but the logical of Bruce. And I remember in the comic, he called the Bat family to the Batcave and said, "Hey, I think I got infected by the Joker. I think this is bad." And they're like, "Oh, what should we do about it?" He's like, "I just gathered you all here to kill you." And he just killed them all, and just like it was nothing. And he knew exactly how to manipulate each and every one of them. And he even made his own brand of kryptonite to destroy Superman. He made him go crazy and kill his whole family, and then made Superman kill himself.
I think is that red kryptonite? Red kryptonite will do that.
No, he made his own black kryptonite.
Oh wow, very interesting.
That's a crazy thing, because before I looked into this, I thought when I first heard about it, I thought it was the Joker just basically becoming Batman, but it's even more sadistic when you realize
it's Batman becoming the Joker.
Right, that's Batman underneath that BDSM spandex,
right.
Well, he snapped his neck and got some kind of toxin in him and all that. And
but a distinctly different BDSM spandex than the one he was wearing when he was just Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Distinctly different.
Right. Look, you don't go through wearing a little latex bat suit with basically a gimp mask on the front of it and not tell me that ain't from some BDSM shop. Just telling you. Just saying. Right. I'm sure Lucius Fox knew what he was making. All right.
I think you might have.
One makes so much sense now.
Well, the Batman Who Laughs is definitely one of our top favorite non-canonical characters, but he's got nothing on number 6 in the countdown. Gabe, who we got coming in at number 6?
Number 6, we have the Scarlet Spider. Now, starting off as a nameless clone, Ben Reilly was featured in the Clone Saga, and now many people would say, why isn't Miles Morales or something like that? But Ben Reilly is actually a clone of Peter Parker. So imagine this. You think you are a person, you have your own memories, you have your own powers as who you think you are, but in fact, you're the clone. So essentially what happened was Peter was like, "Hey, I'm the OG Spider-Man, and you need to stop that because I'm the original Spider-Man." So Ben Reilly had the memories of Gwen Stacy dying, of, Mary Jane and stuff like that. But they're none of those memories. It's kind of a Total Recall in a way. Is that a good way of putting it, you guys think? Where he thinks he has the memories. Yeah, he thinks he has the memories of all of it, but in fact, he doesn't. And so Yeah, I mean,
Littlest Nelly says they should have named his clone Richard Driver, so it could be Dick Driver, with Peter Parker and Dick
Oh my
Driver.
God.
You know,
well, my middle name is
I think it's
Parker.
pretty clever.
That's
I like it,
actually
though.
brilliant.
I like
Yeah.
That is
But-
brilliant.
Essentially, he
That's a good
became
one
the
now.
Scarlet Spider. He has his hoodie on, and he is Peter Parker, but he's not Peter Parker. You know, it's kind of like, it's very like, hold my beer type thing to explain.
Yeah.
Thank you for the bits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you for the bits, Nell. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Moving right along in the countdown, we've got number 5 in the countdown, and that's going to you, Kev. Kev, who's coming in at number 5 here on the countdown?
Yeah, number 5 is Omega Shinron. It's about time we get some anime non-canon characters on here. Sin Shinron is the 7th and the last of the evil shadow dragons to appear, and the last villain to appear in Dragon Ball Grand Tour. Sin Shinron was born from the wish made by Mr. Popo, God damn it, Mr. Popo, to revive everyone in Namek that was killed at the hands of Frieza and his soldiers because of the tremendous negative energy and selfishness of this wish. He is the most selfish, uncaring, and most evil-hearted of all the shadow dragons. He does not feel any compassion for life, as he'll even destroy his own family or shadow dragons if it means accomplishing a selfish goal. Since Shinron transforms into Omega Shinron after absorbing all 7 of the Dragon Balls into his body. Yeah, you guys familiar with the OP-ness of Omega Shinron?
No, but anyone that can absorb 7 Dragon Balls into their body is going to be somebody who's like definitely a challenge. Definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, he's basically the Dragon Ball's evil incarnate. Like, that's
right.
The best way to describe him.
He's the Dragon Ball man. The physical embodiment of
He's got
Dragon
him
Baldium.
he's got him on his chest there. Those 7 little balls. That's
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Okay, have you got any feelings on Omega Shinron here?
I kind of jumped ship on Dragon Ball around. Toonami kept on revamping it, and that looks like it kind of looks like Doomsday in a way.
Right. This looks like if you crossed Mewtwo and Doomsday together.
That's a perfect way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't want to reckon with him.
That's where they got Mewtwo and Doomsday from.
Right. Yeah. Omega Shinron is definitely a powerful contender for number 5, but someone who is also incredibly powerful and was only an apprentice finds his way in here at number 4, and that is Starkiller. Also from finding his way into the Star Wars universe via the video game realm, the next character on the list is Glenn Merrick, a.k.a. the codename Starkiller. An orphaned prodigy of 2 Jedi Knights, Starkiller was targeted based on his raw strength in the Force and taken in as a baby and raised by the Dark Lord. Vader proceeded to raise him to embrace the dark side. His upbringing led to the desire to be one with the Order of the Sith Lords, believing it was his destiny to help Vader overthrow Sidious and usurp the throne as the Galactic Empire. In many ways, Starkiller is the inverse of Luke Skywalker, mirroring his abilities, motivations, and even his name, Skywalker, Starkiller, you know? A lot of similarities there. And Samuel Whitmer, who brought the character to life, described him as 2 parts Han Solo, 1 part Darth Maul, 1 part Indiana Jones, and 1 essential part Luke Skywalker. What do you guys think about Starkiller coming in here at number 4, Kev?
I mean, I think considering he could have moved up maybe a couple, but I think he doesn't have. I don't think he has enough, right? He just has the 2 games. There's no real. I don't think that.
Forced Unleashed and Unleashed 2, and I played Unleashed 2.
Yeah. There weren't any books about him, and even in like the games themselves, there was even like a sort of preface about they exaggerated the powers of the Force for the sort of art of this game, because he's literally pulling Star Destroyers out of the sky.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
There's nobody force wielder doing that in any adaptation except this. So
I mean,
I get why he's not canon.
yeah, but I would like to see, a Jedi apprentice on that level. But he's the kind of Jedi apprentice that if he was in any story, he'd have to be a central focal point because of his power.
Right.
Well,
Well, that's the other thing too. As strong as he was,
Yeah.
Darth Vader was still stronger. So that.
Yep, that's true. Cape, you got feelings on Starkiller coming in number 4?
I like the dual wielding. That's pretty awesome. But also, I just love the story because it seems very like one of those characters that a fan would write.
Mhm.
And I could see it eventually becoming
It
canon.
felt that way playing it.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You realize that Anakin, you think of Anakin Skywalker and you see him never having any apprentices in the series, but we know that he had at least two to three on, both sides of the Force. So it was, as Gonzo said, it was a fan service, and it was as a fan service, it was fantastic in my
It
opinion.
was.
But evidently not as fantastic as number 3 in the countdown. If you don't have Frieza in Dragon Ball Z, you might as well try Cooler.
Yeah, cool your jets, Dad.
That's a
Cooler
refrigerator
first
joke.
Cooler first appeared in 1991 movie Dragon Ball Z: Cooler's Revenge, which was set after the Frieza saga. At the time, the strongest opponent Goku and the Z Warriors had ever faced was Frieza. But this movie unveiled that Frieza's older brother was an even stronger force to be reckoned with than him. After hearing of Frieza's death, Cooler travels to Earth and battles Goku in an effort to reclaim his family's stolen honor. As part of Cooler's vast abilities, he's able to create meta-coolers and mass-produce cyborgs, which have the ability to constantly repair and improve upon themselves. Though Cooler pushes Goku to his limits, Goku goes Super Saiyan and manages to defeat Cooler. Groundhog Day again for the Cold family there. Guys.
Yeah, for real.
Do you think Cooler should be canon? I like the fact to have sibling revenge, right? Like
Yeah, I think that what they really the reason that they didn't put Cooler in there is because after the Frieza saga, they didn't need episodes with 50. They didn't need like 6 episodes of them powering up for another villain, right?
Yeah.
We need to maybe move to some villains that we could let's go to some 1-2 punches that we could knock out of the way real quick, or something. We don't need to go back through all that. So that's why I think they didn't bring Cooler in. And and even jokes aside, like just dealing with Frieza in general and how long that saga was, like, come on. Move on,
Yeah, that's fair. And there's a lot more in the DBZ, and I think that's why there were so many. I mean, the Boo saga, they made Brawley canon. Like Cooler's cool, but I think
I do like the idea of Cooler though, especially knowing what happens with Frieza and the legendariness of that fight. I mean, Goku versus Frieza is probably one of the if we ever do a top 10 greatest fights in anime, like that's probably one of them, so write that down, by the way. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was just saying, write that down.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Anyways, thoughts, Cape, on Cooler?
Nah, not very much, but it is very interesting, just like there's even alternate characters in Dragon Ball,
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I keep on thinking of.
There's actually plenty.
Well, it's hard to top number 2 in the countdown as far as it goes when it comes to alternate characters. This is a big one. Cape, why don't you tell us who comes in at number 2?
Now, number 2 is Red Sun Superman. Now, it was a 3-issue prestige of a comic book with a miniseries, and with the author's premise of what if Superman had been raised in the Soviet Union? Now, the story kind of combines the likeness of DC superheroes with the alternate reality of a real political figures as Joseph Stalin and John F. Kennedy. And in this, Red Sun Superman's rocket ship actually lands in Ukrainian collective farm rather than in Kansas. And you can say we're no longer in Kansas anymore. So instead of saying,
I know you
"True
wouldn't miss the
justice,"
opportunity.
I know I did. You know, when you said,
You
instead
always
of saying
can't escape.
truth, true justice in the American way, this Superman's more described as the champion of the common worker who fights with never-ending barrier.
worker who fights for a never-ending battle for Stalin, socialism, and the internal expansion of the Warsaw Pact.
Thank you, Conrad.
You're welcome, comrades.
But still, I mean, this does not exactly roll off the tongue as true justice the American way, but many people hate Superman. But this version of Superman is kind of fun because, you know, he's not exactly, you know, mild-mannered Clark Kent, but he's more so like his identity is, you know,
He is communist Superman, and he pisses off Republican Superman, and that's what I like about is the Red Sun Superman.
It's Red Sun, and then they also play off the Red Sun fact because that's one of his weaknesses. But it's not exactly like Scarlet Spider, where he's, you know, a clone of Spider-Man. In this universe, it's completely off the beaten path. Right. So, Conrad Kev, what do you think about? Do you know anything about Red Sun Superman? Or I mean, his emblem is a sickle and a hammer. You know. Like,
I do. I like it because I think I always thought it was weird when they really like Americanized the superheroes. Like, America's like fighting force. Like, they don't have bigger problems or things that are, you know, like it felt weird.
You don't see Captain Mexico. You don't see Captain. China, you don't see Captain France. You know, and you don't see. And you liked. I would first think that it was maybe because I'm reading comics in America, right? Yeah. But really, it's just a symbol of like. We nationalize our superheroes.
Matter of fact, I'm going to flip this on the head of people who say this all the time in the other direction. I don't want my superheroes getting involved into politics. How about that?
Well, there is Captain
I think they should.
Canada.
There is Captain Canada. And those do exist within our thing, but it seems very much like they were an afterthought, you know, after Captain America came along because... Yeah. And even outside of Captain America, I mean, like Superman exists in a completely different universe, but there's no way you can separate the American, like red, white, and blue patriotic. The only reason that Superman has black hair versus blonde hair and blue eyes is the fact that back in the day, it was easier to use black hair on characters because you could see it on the page better. That's why both Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne have black hair. And so it's just strictly because of that. Otherwise, they would have made this as just this kind of nationalistic and almost white nationalistic image that they could have. And so with that said, when you turn that over to the Ukraine, you know, he still becomes that same kind of nationalistic icon, but for the communists.
Yeah, just the opposite, the other direction. So it's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and like talking about Captain Canada, actually Wyatt Russell, the guy who played, you know, John Walker in the series, he actually there's a picture of him as Captain Canada because he dressed like that for 1 year. I don't know if I've seen that.
No, I haven't seen that.
Appreciate that.
I saw it and I was like, what?
We're losing you there, Cape. I can't really follow what you're saying. Okay, well, moving right along. Now it was definitely Red Sun Superman definitely takes the cake, but number one in the countdown has to go to our man Darth Revan. Darth Revan first entered a galaxy far, far away in BioWare's 2003 role-playing game, Knights of the Old Republic. He, or her, depending on how you play the game. Headcanon, Darth Revan is non-binary, just saying. Lives in the era of the Old Republic, which takes place about 4,000 years before the OG trilogy. Darth Revan, as they referred to while operating on the dark side of the Sith, was injured in battle and left amnesia-ridden. The Jedi, upon capturing him, took advantage of their condition and turned him over to the light side of the Force. Revan was persuaded to join their ranks and bring down the Empire. The character's emergence in this game inspired countless other appearances, including comic books, novels. There were even talks of including Revan in the Clone Wars, but it was a cut from an episode in late production since their presence would conflict with Lucas's view of the Force at the time. Now, we can see chat's going off crazy right now. Revan is canon, la la la. I'm not listening. So that's kind of why we how a lot of people feel this way, because he's one of everyone's favorite characters out there in the Star Wars universe. Cape, how do you feel about Revan making number one in this countdown?
It's a new one to me, and I had to look him up, and it's a very interesting pick.
Yeah, we've been doing.
Really like it.
Yeah, Revan's been trending lately. We actually did a TikTok recently where we went through and broke down who Revan was on our page, because many people out there on Twitter were basically saying, the new Star Wars fans, they jumped on because of Mandalorian, and oh my gosh, Baby Yoda, what's a Revan? And they kind of used Revan as the point that separates you from the real Star Wars fans. And so we use that as an opportunity to make people real Star Wars fans and introduce them about Revan. So Revan's really been popular in the conversations lately, especially with the Knights of the Old Republic remake being rumored to be announced. Kev, I know you're excited to see Revan making number one in the countdown. Why do you think Revan deserves this spot?
I think just because of his lore, how powerful he is, and what he means to within that universe of the Star Wars universe, right? The KOTOR universe. I think there's a lot of characters out of there that should be made canon, but him in particular, I think toxic divisiveness or toxic fans nonsense aside, I think he is for sure somebody that, and maybe people would know more about him if he was canon. It's not their fault, right? Like, this kind of goes back to my argument. I mean, that should never, like Jake was mentioning, or Gonzo was mentioning earlier, the canon policing shouldn't be a thing in general, but could help mitigate that a little bit.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Speaking of Baby Yoda, though, thank you for the follow, Baby Yoda. We appreciate that. We just had someone follow us that was literally named Baby Yoda, and they were like, I feel like that person was coming after me. I hope not. But
happy accident.
They were throwing shade on people that joined the Star Wars fandom just for Baby Yoda. And honestly, if you joined just for Baby Yoda, fantastic. Welcome to the fandom. Let people enjoy things, goddammit.
Baby Yoda's awesome. Right. Why does everyone see people want to gatekeep, but then they're like, why am I sad and alone?
Right. Because you kicked everybody out with them fucking gates.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you've been doing.
Yeah.
So some honorable mentions here.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some crazy ones on this list. Okay. Lobo the Duck. Okay, Lobo the Duck is a character that was made when Marvel and DC were doing some crossovers of their weirdest character, and they crossed over Howard the Duck and Lobo to create Lobo the Duck. Very interesting character. Flashpoint Batman. We talked a little bit earlier about Earth 2 Green Lantern, and Solomon Grundy from Earth 2 as well as a notable mention. Flashpoint Wonder Woman. Alexander Luthor, the Injustice version of Damian Wayne, is super duper interesting. Maestro just recently got some additions in the new Avengers game. He's actually one of the big villains there. And Zombie Deadpool as another honorable mention in our alternate universes. And anything you guys want to say about the honorable mentions before we move forward?
No, I think that's good. There's some good honorable mentions on there. Yeah,
I'm always
try to
open
think
to
of some
new
more
characters. Yeah, I'm always open to new characters because there's always some people have that just let us know them.
Oh man, you know who we forgot, guys? That should be Bowsette.
That was a big one. I remember that. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Yeah, that was one that definitely deserves an honorable mention.
Yeah,
Bowsette for sure. Bowsette, Boozette,
weird today.
Chompette, that was a thing too. The Boozettes were the ones that really got me because they have the tongue out and everything, and that just. All right. Anyways,
I don't believe you.
On that note, that will wrap it up for this episode of Geek Life. We hope you guys have enjoyed everything today. And remember that if you want more Geek Life, you can always follow any of us on Twitter or Twitch. You can find me at Rusebane, WRUSE_BANE. Cape, where can they find you?
They can find me at Caperdoodle at Twitch or Twitter or Doodle Dandy at TikTok.
All right, and Totally Awesome. Where can they find you?
They can find me at Totally Awesome at TikTok or on Twitch or Twitter.
We do that so fast.
There we go. I don't think anybody caught it.
tried.
It's down there. It's there.
Right, yeah. It's on one side. Yeah. Somewhere. Of course it went to the other side.
Yeah, of course.
I always make fun of y'all for it now.
Yeah, it's hard.
If you want even more stuff, you can find a link tree down in the bio below. Also, check out our Discord. There's a big button down there that says Join the Nerd Horde. Join the Nerd Horde today. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Thank you so much, Baby Yoda, for the follow. Thank you, Littlest Nelly, for the cheers. That's all I've got. Thank you to our moderator, Littlest Nelly. Thank you to our video producer, Jake the Great. First time producing. Did a fantastic job. Thank you guys so much for that, Jake. Now we know that we got a good backup there. And our moderator, Littlest Nelly. And is there any other shout outs that you guys wanted to give?
No, I feel like this is honestly, I don't know if we intended this, but this was like a canon episode in itself, right? Kate,
right
here,
true.
And Jake,
is it canon?
Yeah,
right. Is it canon? You don't know.
It might be.
It might be. It might. Anyways, that'll do it for this episode of Geek Life. We'll be back same time, same. Oh, we won't be back. We won't be back same time, same place next week probably because it's gonna be Mother's Day. So that we all have moms. So we'll probably be back. The week after that, we might have a
pistachio.
Yeah, pistachio. Just got here. Sorry, bud. But anyways, go check out all that good stuff. And we will see you same time, same place the next time we stream.